Larry Fink wasn't born with a silver spoon. In fact, his early life was far from the glitz and glamour of Wall Street. No, he started out like the rest of us, just a regular kid from a middle-class family in Los Angeles. Growing up in the 1960s, Larry experienced the typical suburban life, filled with the simple joys and challenges of a middle-class upbringing. His dad owned a shoe store. It was a modest business, but it taught Larry the value of hard work and perseverance. His mum worked as a college professor. She instilled in him the importance of education and intellectual curiosity. Not exactly the typical Wall Street pedigree, but Larry was different. He had an insatiable curiosity and a drive that set him apart from his peers. He had a knack for numbers, a head for finance. Even as a young man, Larry was fascinated by the world of finance and economics. He spent countless hours studying financial charts and graphs, honing his analytical skills. After graduating from UCLA, he landed a coveted job at First Boston, a big-shot investment bank. This was a significant milestone in his career, marking the beginning of his journey into the high-stakes world of finance. He quickly rose through the ranks, becoming a bond-trading whiz-kid. His talent and dedication did not go unnoticed, and he soon made a name for himself in the industry. But then came 1988, a year that would prove to be a turning point in Larry's career. Larry, along with 7 partners, decided to shake things up. They saw an opportunity to create something new, something that would revolutionize the financial industry. They founded BlackRock, initially a small corner of a bigger company focused on bonds. It was a humble beginning, but they had big dreams and a clear vision. Little did they know they were about to change the financial world forever. Their innovative approach and relentless pursuit of excellence would soon make BlackRock a global powerhouse in the financial industry. Fast forward to today, and BlackRock isn't just a big deal, it's the deal. We're talking about the world's largest asset manager, a financial behemoth overseeing a mind-boggling $11.6 trillion in assets. That's more money than the entire GDP of China. How did they get so big? Well, Larry Fink is a big believer in technology. He saw early on that computers could analyze mountains of data and make smarter investment decisions than any human could, and he wasn't afraid to bet on it. BlackRock developed Aladdin, a super sophisticated software platform that's like the Google search of finance. It's used by pension funds, governments, and even BlackRock's competitors to manage their investments. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, money, specifically Larry Fink's money. In 2024, our friend Larry took home a cool $30.8 million. And before you say, well, he's the CEO, what do you expect? Let's break down that number. We're talking $1.5 million in base salary, a drop in the bucket compared to his $18.1 million in awards and a $10.5 million bonus. But here's the kicker. A big chunk of that bonus is tied to BlackRock's performance in, you guessed it, private markets. Larry Fink is a man on a mission, and that mission seems to be conquer the world of private markets. We're talking about investments in things like infrastructure, real estate, and private companies, and stuff that's not traded on the stock market. In 2024 alone, BlackRock went on a shopping spree, snapping up companies like Global Infrastructure Partners and HPS Investment Partners for a combined $50 billion. They also acquired Prekin, a data provider, for a cool $3.2 billion. This aggressive expansion into private markets is no accident. It's all part of Larry Fink's grand plan to find new avenues for growth and juicy returns for BlackRock and its investors, including himself.
Check one, check.
Section 5. The succession question: who will inherit the throne? Larry Fink isn't getting any younger. At the ripe old age of 72, he's not exactly the spring chicken he used to be. And while he shows no signs of slowing down, the question of who will succeed him looms large over BlackRock. Adding to the intrigue, there have been some high-profile departures from BlackRock's executive ranks in recent years. It's enough to make anyone wonder, is there trouble in paradise, or is this just the natural ebb and flow of a company at the top of its game? Section 6, Walking the Talk, Fink's ESG Tightrope Walk. Larry Fink is a vocal advocate for ESG investing, which stands for environmental, social, and governance factors. He's penned impassioned letters to CEOs, urging them to think long-term and invest in a sustainable future. But there's a problem, a big, hairy, hypocritical problem. You see, BlackRock is also one of the world's largest investors in fossil fuel companies, the very companies that are cooking our planet. This apparent contradiction has earned Fink his fair share of criticism. Critics accuse him of greenwashing, talking a big game about sustainability while continuing to profit from the industries that are destroying our planet. Section 7. The two sides of Fink's savior or shark. So, which is it? Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is a figure who elicits strong opinions. Some see him as a visionary leader, steering the ship of capitalism towards a more sustainable and ethical future. Others view him as just another Wall Street titan, whose primary concern is the bottom line. Is Larry Fink the savior of capitalism, pushing for a more responsible and sustainable form of doing business? His annual letters to CEOs have become famous for advocating for long-term thinking and environmental, social and governance (ESG) criteria. He argues that companies must serve a social purpose and that profit and purpose are not mutually exclusive. Or is he just another Wall Street shark, more interested in profits than people or the planet? Critics argue that despite his rhetoric, BlackRock continues to invest heavily in fossil fuels and other industries that are far from sustainable. They claim that his calls for change are more about public relations than genuine transformation. The truth, as always, is more complicated than a simple either-or. Fink's position allows him to influence the direction of global finance, but he is also constrained by the demands of his shareholders and the realities of the market. Balancing these competing interests is no easy task. There's no denying that BlackRock's sheer size and influence give Fink an outsized platform to push for change. With over $9 trillion in assets under management, BlackRock has the power to shape markets and corporate behavior on a global scale. This influence can be a force for good, but it also comes with significant responsibility, and he's certainly not afraid to use it. Fink has been vocal about the need for companies to address climate change and social inequality. He has pushed for greater transparency and accountability in corporate governance and has encouraged companies to take a long-term view of their impact on society. But at the end of the day, BlackRock is a business, and its primary responsibility is to its shareholders. This means that while Fink can advocate for change, he must also deliver financial returns. This dual mandate can lead to conflicts and compromises. And as long as there's money to be made in fossil fuels, it's hard to imagine BlackRock completely divesting from the industry. The transition to a more sustainable economy is complex and fraught with challenges. Fink's legacy will likely be judged by how well he navigates these complexities and whether he can truly align profit with purpose. Section 8. The Power and the Peril. BlackRock's expanding influence. BlackRock's reach extends far beyond Wall Street. With trillions under management, they own a piece of just about everything. From your retirement fund to your favorite tech company, chances are BlackRock is invested. This kind of concentrated power raises some serious questions. Are they the puppet masters of the global economy? Do they have too much influence over the companies they invest in? And what happens when their interests conflict with the interests of everyday people? Section 9, The Fink Legacy, a story still being written. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Larry Fink is one of the most influential figures in finance today. His name is synonymous with power and influence in the financial world. As the CEO of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, Fink has a reach that extends into nearly every corner of the global economy. His decisions can sway markets, influence corporate strategies, and even shape public policy. He built BlackRock from the ground up into a global powerhouse, and his pronouncements on everything from climate change to income inequality are closely watched by CEOs and policymakers alike. His annual letters to CEOs are eagerly anticipated and often set the agenda for corporate governance and social responsibility. Fink's vision for a more sustainable and equitable form of capitalism has sparked both admiration and controversy. But his legacy is far from secure. The financial world is ever-changing, and the challenges Fink faces are immense. From navigating the complexities of global markets to addressing the growing demands for environmental, social and governance (ESG) considerations, the path ahead is fraught with uncertainty. Critics argue that BlackRock's investments in fossil fuels contradict Fink's public stance on climate change. Can he square his ESG talk with BlackRock's fossil fuel investments? This question looms large as environmental activists and concerned stakeholders scrutinize every move. The tension between profit and principle is a delicate balance that Fink must manage carefully. His ability to align BlackRock's investment strategies with his public commitments to sustainability will be a key determinant of his legacy. Will he be able to navigate the increasingly complex and uncertain world of global finance? The landscape is shifting rapidly, with new technologies, regulatory changes, and geopolitical tensions adding layers of complexity. Fink's experience and leadership will be tested as he steers BlackRock through these turbulent waters. His ability to adapt and innovate will be crucial in maintaining BlackRock's dominance, and perhaps most importantly, who will succeed him, and will they share his vision for a more sustainable and equitable form of capitalism? Only time will tell. The question of succession is always a critical one for any major corporation, and BlackRock is no exception. The next leader will inherit not just a financial giant, but also the weight of Fink's ambitious vision. Will they continue on the path he has set, or will they chart a new course? But one thing's for sure, Larry Fink's story is far from over. As he continues to shape the future of finance, his influence will be felt for years to come. The decisions he makes today will ripple through the global economy, affecting businesses, governments, and individuals alike. The story of Larry Fink and BlackRock is still being written, and its final chapters are yet to unfold.